like a bunch of loony spacemen who'd been on a spaceship for, you know, for 1,000 years and had gone completely wacko.
It was like Star Trek with long hair and drugs, yeah. I mean, we weren't the fucking Pink Floyd, man. We weren't, you know, cute. We were like a fucking black nightmare. We used to lock the doors so people couldn't get out.
I think the name of Hawkwind came from a mixture of partly to do with Michael Moorcock's influence. We all read his books. Part of it was also my habit of farting and spitting. At
one party I remember introducing Arthur Clarke to William Burroughs, which everybody thought would be impossible. You know, there was Clarke, the scientific chap, and Burroughs, the beat. And they got on like a house on fire. They would not, you know, they just kind of stayed together the whole evening. I was helping organise some gigs under the motorway. I'd already written some lyrics for Dave and Nick. They'd asked me for some lyrics. During the organising of that particular gig, they said, "Why don't you come up on stage and perform them for us?" So I did Sonic Attack and you know, things of that kind.
Sonic attack on your district. Follow these rules. If you are making love, it is imperative to bring all bodies to orgasm simultaneously. Do not waste time blocking your ears. Do not waste time seeking a soundproof shelter. Try to get as far away from the sonic source as possible.
It's dystopian in that you're always issuing warnings, and that's what dystopia is about. But I mean, you tend to issue the warnings because you're optimistic enough to think that by issuing the warning, something will change. You know, a lot of those lyrics, which were virtually psychotic in the world they were showing, were only being done in order to try to change things.
This is the acid test. This is the only way to tell whether a person is in the alternative society or not.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah. Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Burn the money. Right.
You burn the money.
That was the time. That was the zeitgeist. We really did think we could change things for the better. We certainly didn't think they would get as bad as they did get.
Shops are free, houses are free, we don't need money, that's where it's at, that's what it's all about!
The only person who was giving it any kind of intellectual description was Calvert. In a sense, it was his Achilles' heel. He never really wanted to be the great rock and roll performer that he was. He always wanted to be taken seriously as a poet. We really were trying to find some new way of doing music, and using the electronics, rather than simply using the electronics to be a kind of amplification for acoustics. We were actually trying to use electronics for their own sake, but without the kind of pretentiousness that tended to be around. I think I was proud that we were the only people who didn't say that we were influenced by Stockhausen. Dave had the riff, and then Bob put the words to it, and that's pretty much how you work with Dave. You didn't really get together like Lennon and McCartney and a couple of guitars. Dave is a master at controlling that particular kind of music. I mean, he really is brilliant at it. He's got a theatrical sense as well as a musical sense, and he always sort of knows when to sort of bring the band up to crescendo and then let it fall away again. And in a way, Hawkwind was a proto-punk group like the Clash. I mean, in that all of the lyrics tended to be urban lyrics, or lyrics that were kind of gritty in that same way, and were attacking in that same way. When Johnny Rotten came to say everything was rubbish, it was so everything was rubbish except Hawkwind. I took Nick's part in that rift. I sort of lost my friendship with Dave as a result of it, but I don't think either of them seriously of broken faith with how they started. I do think that Nick was the spirit of the band, but Dave was the kind of the backbone of the band, without any doubt. Hawkwind's legacy will actually increase in impact rather than decrease, because it did hold the faith. I mean, it held the faith in many ways better than the Sex Pistols held the faith, if that's what you value.